And hello and welcome to episode 94 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers, by scale modelers, of course, all about scale models. And this fortnight's show is being brought to you by Jim Bob, who has become our latest Patreon supporter. Thank you very much, Jim Bob. If you'd like to be just like Jim and help support the show, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com/onthebench. And for as little as $1 a month, you can help support this show. Thank you very much for all of our Patreon supporters who continue to help us, and we look forward to your continued support. So, this show, what are we talking about? We'll be having a look at doing bare metal finish with paints. And we might even touch a bit on bare metal foil as well, but we'll have to see what Julian and Ian got to say. In the meantime, let's have a quick word from our sponsor. The Scale Modeler Supply. Certified Australian made, Scale Model supplies a detailed range of premium acrylic paints that have been specifically developed to cater to the scale modeler. Designed to be used straight from the bottle, SMS paints have taken all the guesswork out of airbrushing. Simply shake the durable glass bottle and pour and spray for a fast drying and extremely durable result. The ever-growing range of SMS paints will suit all types of model builders, be it military, train, car, science fiction or Gunpla. SMS premium acrylic lacquer paints will have a colour to suit you. The Scale Modeler is also your one-stop shop for all your weathering, brushes, masking, tools and accessory needs. SMS paint tools and accessories are available either directly from their website www.scalemodeler.com.au or through stockists across Australia, New Zealand, Singapore and the US. And as a special bonus exclusive to our On The Bench listeners, you will get 10% off by using the promo code OTB when ordering direct from www.scalemodeler.com.au. So go now. Go to scalemodeler.com.au. We know you won't be disappointed. And let's get on with the show. And hello and welcome to, let's see, Julian or Ian first? Let's start with Julian first.
Hello.
just a normal hello, that's it? That's all you got for us?
While I was making my coffee just a few minutes ago to prep myself for the podcast, I was just thinking that my attention span is kind of like a rocket in that, you know how like a rocket starts off with maximum fuel and at that point it's going its slowest, but as it gets to the end of its travel, it has less fuel and goes faster and faster as it goes along.
So have you hit your apogee yet?
No, I just started the day, so I'm at my lowest point.
Oh, okay. Ian, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks, Dave. G'day, listeners.
What's been happening?
Working on the Mustang.
I've been seeing some pictures of it and it looks awesome.
Yeah, started the decaling process.
And in fact, we're going to be talking about doing some metal finishes with paint later on in the show. So
yeah,
it'd be good to hear about your experiences and my experiences and Julian's experiences if he's ever done it.
Yes. Yep. Well, I came across a snag yesterday.
Oh, well, how about we save that until we get to that segment?
That's got nothing to do with paint.
Oh, hasn't it? Okay. What sort of snags you hit?
I ruined my nose art.
What?
Decal. Yep.
You ruined your decal?
Yep. And it's like huge nose art.
Yeah.
And the decal it just stuck. As soon as it hit the kit, it just adhered. So then while I was trying to move it into position, it curled into a cylinder and wouldn't release, and then started crinkling and it just made a complete mess out of itself and couldn't be saved.
So, oh my God. So what are you going to do now?
Well, luckily a friend of mine's got the same kit and he's not doing that scheme.
Oh,
so I'll meet up with him. So I'll meet up with him on Monday
on
the way home from work and just grab the new nose art and try again. Because nearly every other decal's on it already.
Yeah, so you can't go any other way.
No, either stripping it all the way back and starting again, and that's not really on the agenda at the moment.
What sort of
I'd rather
decal?
start it.
What's a
That's the Edward decals.
Oh, yeah. And what sort of a decal solution were you doing? Or
I'm
settings?
just using me guns,
Okay.
Mr. Mark Setter and Mr. Mark Softener,
Yeah.
as I do with all my decals.
One of those things.
Always works well, but yeah, just one of those things, that decal. But I did find that some of the smaller decals did have a tendency to curl and fold up on themselves. And once they fold up on themselves, it's a bugger of a job trying to get them back into a reasonable look.
All over Red Rover.
Yeah, they're very temperamental.
Oh,
I found very temperamental.
Such a shame.
Well, you live and learn.
Yeah. Julian, what have you been up to?
I've just been sort of fiddling around with my existing car kits. Still on the cars. I was having a look at the because I'm still on the fence as to what I should do with this Renault.
How so?
Because I polished. I decided like I can't just sit here doing nothing, so I decided to polish up the rest of it, and it came up really nice. But I'm still wondering if I should just attempt to fix where I've burned through the blue layer of clear, or if I should just keep it as it is and not worry too much about it.
Hard decision. Is it one of those ones where it really stands out, or you have to look for the mistake?
No, that really stands out.
Oh,
But,
okay.
I mean, it's it's like, is it really worth it? I mean, this was supposed to be just a test bed for like these techniques anyway, in which case it's served its purpose. I don't really need to do much more than that.
Practice your weathering and turn it into a wreck.
It's a bit late now after I've got like a high shine finish on it.
Well, you can always
Like,
take
I'd have to
that
spray
shine
with
off.
flat.
Yeah, why not?
Actually, one of our listeners wrote in specifically to you, Julian, about your about doing the cars and your method for doing the painting. So we'll get to that later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'd be really cool to hear that person's take on it.
Mm. Yeah, because I mean, like what got me onto a lot of these two car kits is I've been watching some great YouTube videos and other resources to sort of really good techniques that I want to like sort of get into and copy. And when I was watching one of them, I got a lot out of it. So I've been trying to apply some of those methods to this. Like, for example, last night I got out the transparencies, the windows and stuff for this kit. And man, they're like lenses, they're so thick. The plastic's so thick that it distorts light as it goes through it.
Works like a prism.
Yeah. And I to an extent, like a lot of older cars have either got very flat glass or it's really curved.
Yes.
Almost like they wanted to get away from having flat windows, so they decided to go as curved as possible.
Yep.
So this one is a little bit like that, not too much. The windscreen is curved very sharply towards the sides. All the others are mostly flat.
Yep.
I was contemplating using the existing plastic windows to cut some sheet styrene that's clear.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do have some on hand, and that would be better. But every time I use that stuff, it just gets scratched up so easily.
Yes.
You
You have got a slight conundrum there, Julian.
It sure does.
Well, I mean, it's like, if I want to do the best job possible, then technically I should just use the kit plastic because it'll get the job done. But if I'm sticking true to it being a test bed for techniques, then maybe I should attempt it.
Yeah, do it.
All right, yeah, I
Make
think
the
you've
attempt.
convinced me. At least for some parts of it. I'm not sure if I'll do it for the windscreen. We'll see how we go.
Yep.
Oh dear.
So what about you, Dave? What have you been working on?
Still plugging away at my Atlas rocket, actually. I've got most of the painting done, so I'm just ready to do some decaling before I do the assembly. And you've got to decal before you do some assembly with some of this because some of the pipe work and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm contemplating sitting down the bench this afternoon and doing that. I caught up with Warren from the Golden Sprue Awards earlier in the week and laid down a track to slip into the show this week. But unfortunately, I was getting a lot of feedback on the microphone. And normally I don't have to worry about mix minus on this digital board, but for some reason I'm having all sorts of trouble. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I completely stuffed it, and then I was trying to take out the echo, and I just made a real hash of it. So I'm just going to have to sort of go ahead and sort of get rid of it. So my apologies to you, Warren. But what I will say is, don't forget, guys, to check out the Golden Sprue Awards. Go to www.goldensprueawards.com. And this is a fantastic initiative to celebrate the modelling community and our opportunity to nominate and vote online for your favourite new kit releases in 2020. And voting is now open for October. So get in there and vote. Number of different categories. You've got aircraft, military, ships, figure, civilian vehicles, sci-fi kits, as well as a category for paint products, weathering products, and aftermarket products. And Warren's organised some fantastic giveaways there for people who do go and vote. So I'm really keen to see what the outcome of this is going to be, actually. So it should be pretty cool. Apart from that, I've been doing a bit of hunting around online for some fairly hard-to-get space-based models. I've been contemplating how I'm going to display some of my rockets once I've finished them. That's pretty much it for me, really. I've haven't got much more. I've still got the space bug hard, and it's bitten really hard into me, so I'm still sort of plugging away on that. So
ride the wave, Dave.
Absolutely ride the wave. Oh gosh, so that's it. Well, we got a bit of listener mail, so you guys ready to jump in and have a listen to that?
Of course we are.
Oh, fantastic. Now, who's the first one we've got up? Oh, that's right. Our good old friend Brian Latour writes in. And if you remember, we spoke about a couple of episodes ago that Bandai are releasing a cup noodle kit.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures now.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Brian writes in and says, I just wanted to add some context to the cup noodle kit that might help to make a little bit more sense. It isn't the first collaboration between Bandai and Cup Noodle it's to celebrate the 30th anniversary Gundam. Cup Noodle collaborated with Bandai to have a tiny 1/380th scale, just a funny scale, of Gundam models packed in as a promotional item. So it must have been a huge success because they brought it back a couple of years later to celebrate Cup Noodle's 40th anniversary. And he seems to think there's quite a significant overlap between the Gundam fans and Cup Noodles, most particularly in the Japanese market. So there you go.
Yeah, because they're probably made out of the same materials.
Oh, that's a bit harsh, Ian.
You know they use wax in noodles, don't you?
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean wax?
Yeah,
what, like candle wax?
No, it's a special type of wax, stops them sticking together.
Oh, well, never knew that.
There you go. You learnt something new, didn't you?
I do. Tania Tamok writes in, and hi guys, love the podcast. Just listening to the Blue over Alclad adventure. Absolutely agree about the difficulty of getting consistent colour out of a coloured clear. And he sent us a picture of his McLaren that he did. If I was doing similar colour again, and he did his in an orange, I would use gold as the base, similar metallic look, but much less clear orange would be needed. All the best from Auckland, New Zealand. So that's sort of touching on what you were speaking about last show, Julian, about doing the spraying your cars.
Mm. Yeah,
I was going. Yeah,
I would like to see those photos because I don't have them in front of me like you do.
Yeah, just
that would be
one.
really.
So he did a Mr. Colour Gun's clear orange over Mr. Colour silver, and it took a huge amount of orange to get it dark enough. And he's still not where he wants it, but he's pretty happy with the result.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to flick you that picture, actually.
Well, Yeah, well, like I mentioned with mine, because I was following someone else's technique. I had a little bit of smoke grey, which is essentially like a very dark, almost black, clear color to the blue to make it darker. Otherwise, it would have been quite bright.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas, actually, I haven't posted any photos, have I, of this thing? I should do that. I should probably do that. I should probably
There's
post
an
all my
idea.
models.
There you go. There you go. Damien Rigby writes in, and he's from Strathewen, which is the outer northeast of Melbourne. G'day, Damien. And he says, "Hi, OTB team. Love the episode on essential bench equipment and having Will Patterson on the show, which was really great. You know, we should get Will back on next episode for a part 2 on tools. We missed quite a bit, didn't we? We didn't have time to get through.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah.
That's a very good idea.
Oh, there you go. So that's what you can look forward to in the next episode.
Well, if you ask him first.
Well, yeah, actually, I'm quite sure that Will be happy to join us. He posted a couple of photos of some items that live on his bench. He's got the 4 versions of the Infini cutting mats, which are absolutely brilliant for cutting masking tape to all sorts of widths, curves, and angles. I've been meaning to get one of those. It's like a mat, and it's got sort of graduated lines in it, and you just put the sheet of Tamiya tape or whatever tape you use over the top, and there's like a little groove underneath, and you just slide your knife through it, and it cuts the tape to the right shape.
Yeah, I've got a heap of those.
Are they good?
I think mine are from Voyager.
Right.
I got about 4 or 5 of them.
Well, the Infini cutting mats are the orange ones.
Correct, that's right, yeah.
And these ones are etched metal.
Oh, right. Yeah,
So-
that'd be Voyager.
So the Infinity ones, they're self-healing, are they? The self-healing mats, or are they?
No, they're I'm not sure if they're acrylic or not, but
Right.
they're definitely like a solid material that does not flex, and it's actually got like slots cut in the face of it so that your knife will run through those slots.
Ah, okay. I'm gonna have to get some of them, I think.
And the material is like I don't know, like a couple of like maybe 3-4 millimeters thick.
Sure.
Yeah, so I mean it's been. I'm not sure how well it goes with the circular ones, because the idea of your knife falling into a slot that's curved when your blade is not curved.
You'd have to use super sharp knife. That's all I can
And
say.
the tip of your blade, Julian.
Yeah, yeah. And a scalpel, not one of those silly hobby blades.
Hey, don't call my silly hobby blade silly.
I've just about chucked
I'm
out.
very attached to it.
No, I've just about chucked out all my hobby blades. When you compare them to scalpel blades, they're just too thick. Don't you think?
Well, it's not like I haven't used one. I just haven't used it recently enough to, compare it in my mind.
Anyway, thanks very much, Damien. That's cheers for that. Now, Sean Vale Rhodes writes in, and he wants us to have a look at a topic into the future. The potential for a future episode, perhaps, with the money that many people spend on the hobby and some of the stashes I've seen with guys on Facebook. Do we in the hobby need to start looking at model building and kit collecting as two entirely different hobbies? Geez, what do you think about that?
Oh, that's a controversial one.
It is.
I know people who go as far as to say that as long as you're still buying models, you're still a modeler.
It's funny, Sean's got this acronym that he uses for it. It's called SABLE, and it stands for Stash Acquisition Beyond Life Expectancy.
Yes.
Well, that's...
I
put
can
thought into
agree.
that.
He did.
I can agree.
You know, that's not a bad
There's
idea.
no way I've got enough years left in me to finish my kits.
Well, how about we hold that, and we will, I think, dive into that discussion in more length on a different episode. So
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
Sean, who hails from Richmond, Virginia. Again, another one of those Virginian model builders. Andrew writes in and he says he actually got an air purifier. If you remember back in episode 93, I was talking about getting an air purifier.
Yes.
And Andrew says he has one for his build room, and it's absolutely amazing. He got his used one, and it was super reasonable in price. He actually runs it all the time, which is interesting. And his model is Sharp, manufactured by Sharp, and in quiet mode, it's super quiet. He just leaves it running in the room the whole time because I've got to say, dust in my build room is driving me nuts at the moment. It doesn't matter how much I vacuum or whatever, I still dust.
And with the weather we've had the last few days, it'll be all over the shop because it's been as windy as all get out.
Yeah. So thanks for that tip, Andrew. And it's Andrew Lance. I'll definitely look at getting some pricing on some of them.
Yeah, me too.
True. And let's have a look at the next one. Let me just... I got a message from a good friend of ours, John Marley, up in north of Australia. And he said, "G'day, Dave, Ian and Julian. I'd like your opinion about scale aircraft antennas. I've previously used Easy Line on my Tomea Bismarck kit, but I wasn't overly satisfied with the result. The line itself isn't uniform as the width varies slightly along the run. Maybe they were all on the source that day at the factory, so I'm looking for some alternatives. I have a house full of women, and I've just read online that human hair works well. However, be careful to avoid the pubes." Oh, gosh.
You'd need someone with long hair for that.
What do you think about...
Also, some hair is thicker than others, and generally it's not actually like circular, if you know what I mean. It tends to be oval shaped in cross section, so that I suppose like some line is like that too, where if you've actually got it twisted, you can see the twist in it.
Correct.
Well, for 1/72 scale aircraft, what do you think you should use to do the aircraft antennas?
Oh, jeez. Ushi's finest rigging line.
Yeah.
Stuff's great. It's black. It's already black. You don't have to paint it.
I paint it, because it's not dark enough.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, I forget which. He's got like a bunch of different grades.
Yeah.
I would be a bit careful though, because I've been hearing like a lot of things about Ushi having trouble shipping things out lately.
Oh, because of the corona thing.
Maybe. I don't know. In any case, I mean, like shipping's like fraught with dangers for us these days.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter where you're ordering from.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless it's like in your city.
And even then, you got to wait sometimes a few weeks.
Yeah. So if you were going to order from Ushi, maybe just order it from a local supplier if you can, to minimize risk.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I just got notification I got a package delivery coming today, but the mail certainly has been stuffed up in a huge way. I mean, our good old reliable B&A Hobbies, who normally gets it to your front door within 2 or 3 days locally here in Melbourne, it's taken as long as a week or even 2 weeks to get products from them at the moment, and it's no fault of theirs.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I ordered some stuff a week and a half ago, and it still hasn't arrived yet.
What are you ordering?
I'd be getting in contact with them because I'm getting my stuff within 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, I ordered a whole heap of sanding products and stuff and polishing stuff and just resupply really. I don't know. It's I don't know, Julian. You're in that sort of industry. What the heck's going on with the postage at the moment?
I don't know enough. I'm too
or too far down the food chain.
That's right.
Oh man, it really sucks.
People tend to overestimate, how much they know about how the networks work. But when you actually talk to someone who's high enough, you realize you don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah. And a final email comes from Jim Bob, who writes, and he's just recently become a supporter of the show as well on Patreon.
Thanks, Jim Bob. Thank you.
And he writes, only recently gotten back into the hobby, mostly painting figures, but gearing up to try aircraft and armour too. I'm predominantly a war gamer, though I'm a bit of a hobby butterfly. Painting this, then that, generally getting distracted and completing nothing. Gee, that sounds familiar.
Yes, very.
How many of us have got about 6 or 7 kits on the go? Gee, I have.
I've fallen back into that horrible habit. I used to be, I cleaned myself up and I was doing like starting one, finishing one. Not lately, not so much.
Yeah, well, I'm actually thinking about starting my next project today.
What are you going to do?
To me, Spitfire Mark 1.
Oh yeah, it looks too juicy for you to leave alone.
Exactly. I've had it in my hands every night now. Oh, that sounded wrong, didn't it?
It did.
No, every day I've just been grabbing that kit and having a good look at it. And it's like, no, about time I made a start.
Jim continues, you chaps have given me the confidence to tackle aircraft and armour kits. Now all I need to do is to organise some time to tackle the projects. I have considered hiring someone to do my sleeping for me and maybe going to work for me as well. That way I could have plenty of time to do my model building. However, the missus thinks it would be pretty expensive and is not impressed with the idea. That's not a bad idea, is it?
I think cloning.
Yeah, cloning's pretty good.
Just make a clone of yourself and send that one off to do everything.
Oh, jeez.
You haven't seen that movie, The Island, where the clone, essentially takes the place of the guy who ordered it.
Is that the remake of Fantasy Island?
No.
Oh.
Not
like
even
some
close.
Sort of thing where wealthy people have clones made of them so they can harvest their organs in the event that they have a health crisis. But some of the clones break out and he's getting all these sort of memory flashes and finds his the original body, the original guy, who of course was like, holy crap, my clones found me, and tries to kill him, and he kills that guy and then takes his place.
Oh, jeez. Well, that's it for listener mail. Of course, if you want to write into us, we're always happy to receive your emails. You can send an email to onthebench64@gmail.com. How about we have a quick break, guys, and we'll come back and have a look at what's new in the hobby world.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, back shortly. Fine Scale Modeller is the world's most recognised and essential magazine for modelers and is available in all good newsagents and newsstands or wherever you purchase your magazines. Alternatively, go to their website, www.finescale.com, and subscribe to either a print edition or their digital edition. Go now. Go to www.finescale.com. Okay, and welcome back. And we're going to have a look at what's new in the modelling world and what's grabbing our interest at the moment. Jeez. Pickings are a little bit slim. Let's have a look. Oh, first of all, Tacom have announced they've got 2 new releases coming up in September. The first one is in 1/35th scale. It's a Panther OSFG with Zimmerit. Comes with a track jig, which is also included, as well as some photo etch. And they've also announced that they're going to be doing a Burger Panzer 2A2. This is the recovery vehicle that's based on the Leopard family. And it was used by Germany, and I think the Canadian Army also used it as well.
Didn't we use it as well?
Not the 2A2. We used the earlier version.
The earlier version, yeah.
Yeah, we used the earlier version. So, and of course, now we're using the Hercules, I believe. So, what else we got here? Gee, the pickings are really slim, aren't they? I can't. Of course. How about we just dive in and have a look at what the Falcon has for us? Because, of course, he's written in and let us know what the new stuff is. So, news for this fortnight from the Falcon. The Nuremberg Toy Fair has been postponed, and there's no firm date yet, but it's been pushed back to sometime in summer 2021. So that's obviously been impacted by COVID. For aircraft, Hobby Boss have announced that they are releasing a 172nd scale Grumman F8F-1 Bearcat, which will come and hit the shops in late November. Sova M have announced, I haven't heard of them before, SOVA-M. I haven't heard of that manufacturer.
Me too.
Anyway, they've announced a limited edition 172nd scale Grumman SA-16A Albatross. And the kit will have markings for the albatrosses used in the Expendables movies. Well, there you go. That's interesting.
Oh, okay. Yes.
ICM have another version of their Polikarov PO2/U2 biplane coming our way. This is going to be the air ambulance version with pods for carrying stretchers mounted on the lower wings. Oh, gosh. Imagine being shoved in the pod on the lower wing and then flown out somewhere.
They had rescue pods for Stukas.
Yeah, I know, but
They look like these big weird eggs that sat on the curved part of the wings.
oh, it's not a totally unexpected move. Valum following up with their 172nd scale Vickers Valenta with not one but two 172nd scale boxing of the Vickers Vikings. The first one's going to be an RAF Viking C.2 Royal Flight, and the other is a civil version, which is the Viking Mark 1A, with markings for BEA and EAS. A Ukraine manufacturer that is not Dora Wings is working on a 148 scale Curtiss P-36 H-75 Hawk. Fairly good bet. It will see production well before the promised P-36 from Edward. There's also a new tool, 148 scale Sukhoi Su-33 Flanker D coming our way from Minibase Hobby Corporation. The origins of this one kit are complicated, as it was supposedly based on the CAD used for the Kinetic Su-33. From what I can work out, Minibase, formerly known as Aviation Art, did the original CAD for Kinetic, but are now releasing their own Su-33 using corrected and updated CAD files. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
Sounds like they sabotaged them.
Special Hobby have shown new sprues and final box art for their 132nd scale Westland Whirlwind Cannon Fighter. It has taken forever, but it looks like this long-awaited kit will finally see the light of day, maybe even later this year.
Wow. Yeah, that's been on the burner for a long time, that kit.
Yeah, that'd be really impressive in 132nd scale too, wouldn't it?
Mm. It's a great looking aircraft, the Whirlwind.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like someone just got the idea of de Havilland Mosquito and just turned it into a single-seat fighter.
Well, the concept was good, but the execution wasn't too good, was it? It wasn't a particularly well-liked aircraft.
No, they had their issues.
They did. Infinity models.
I think bits falling off them, I think, was a problem.
Yeah, it's not a good look, is it? As you're flying along with bits of your aircraft that are falling off.
Exactly.
Infinity models have shown box art and more CAD renders for the three of their upcoming 132nd scale kits. This is exciting. De Havilland DH100 Vampire Mark III, an Achi D3A1 Val, and a Let L13 Blanc Glider. No idea when any of these would be released, but they look very promising apparently.
And what scale were they again?
132nd. Imagine a Vampire in 132nd scale. That'd be nice.
Didn't Matchbox used to do a Vampire in 32nd?
I can't recall, Ian. I can't recall. Moving on to armour kits, Dragon Models will be releasing their 172nd scale lineup with the M6 Bradley linebacker. Academy will also be releasing a 135th scale version of the Elephant Tank Destroyer. However, be advised, this is simply a reboxing of the Zvezda kit. And I think everyone was rightly amazed when we learned from ICM that there would be a 135th scale mainstream injection moulded kit of the very obscure French World War II tank, the FCM-36. Well, be even more amazed as there is another one coming from Rish Models. We really do live in unprecedented times, says the Falcon. ICM just don't do obscure French tanks. They also make obscure German armoured cars. And they've just shown box art for their upcoming 135th scale SD KFZ 24-7B. Don't confuse it with the SD KFZ 24-7 from Bronco Models. That was an OS A with 6 wheels, and the ICM kit is the OS FB with just 4 wheels. So I guess you'll need to buy both. Hobby Boss have announced a couple of new 135th scale kits that we'll see released soon. The first one is a T-60 Russian light tank from World War II and a Jackal 1 high mobility platform as used by the British Army in Afghanistan. And I'm sure that particular kit will have a lot of interest amongst the armour builders.
Yeah, definitely.
Trumper have also announced a couple of new 135th scale kits, Ukrainian T-64 BM and an Object 450 medium tank. Most people know what the T-64 looks like, but less will know what the Object 450 looks like. So you're going to have to go ahead and Google it, as it is very weird. And of course, last but not least, Mini Art have added another 135th scale T55 to the lineup. This one is a T55A, which was produced in Czechoslovakia, making up 4 vehicles, 2 Yugoslavian and 2 Czech. And that's all the Falcon has for this fortnight. You guys got anything new?
No.
No, I don't. I'm just actually Googling this 450. Yeah, it is a bizarre looking thing.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah. Very strange.
Well, how about we dive straight into our topic of the day, which is doing bare metal finishes with paint.
All right.
And Ian, how about you kick it off first, seeing you've been doing quite a bit of work on your Mustang?
Yeah, well, I've just been using the Alclad polished aluminium, and I find that if I use a really nice shiny gloss black base, it comes up really nice. Really, really nice.
I think we need to take a step back and really talk about the preparation, because that is key when you're doing a bare metal finish.
Oh, yeah. You can't have any scratches.
No, none whatsoever.
Or anything like that. No putty showing, no nothing. It's got to be just smooth as silk.
Interestingly, on the Atlas rocket that I'm building from Horizon Models, that is all metal, the whole rocket itself. And I hit upon this technique where I was doing wet and dry, or maybe wet sanding, I should say, using 1200th grade, let me try and get this out. 2000. I'm trying to think of the grade of the sandpaper I used.
1200.
1200, thank you.
Jeez.
That took a
That
lot
was
to get out.
epic.
Oh, that was very epic. Oh, my goodness. But what I would do is I would not just only use water, I'd add soap to it. Like the, your liquid soap, the hand soap that you get?
Yeah, just a drop of that.
No, gosh, I'd slather it on, and I'd do it under a running tap, and I'd polish it and sand it up and down, and I'd just use the sandpaper itself and let because it's a round cylinder, I could just put the sandpaper on my hand, put the rocket in there under running water with lots of soap, and off I went. Mind you, Michelle apparently said it didn't look too good from behind, but but the finish I got was absolutely...
Michelle would say that.
Well, yeah. It's so funny because I was hunched over the sink and I was doing the sanding motion, and I hear this, "The hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, because that's the thing with metal finishes, because they show up every slightest sin.
Well, once I'd done the 1200, I'd go down to doing a 2000 and then even a 3000 and even a 4000 polish to get that beautiful sort of mirror finish. The hardest part originally was getting the seam lines knocked out, and that took a huge amount of work. And once I got the seam lines to the point where I thought I couldn't see them anymore, I used the Tamiya primer and sprayed that over, and that then highlighted any of the seam areas that still needed to be knocked down. Again, using the wet sanding method, I polished it all up and got it knocked down to the point where I thought it was perfect, and did another coat then of the Mr. Surfacer 1200.
Right.
That comes in a rattle can as well. Sprayed that on, and that fills all the sort of micro scratches and everything on it. Polished that up, so and then it's just absolutely gleaming. And then I didn't apply a black undercoat. I found that using different paints on the grey was all I needed to do, and it came up really good. The particular paints that I have been using, and you still can't beat, Alclad, 100%.
Yeah.
Just brilliant.
It just dries rock hard.
Oh, it does. And I've been experimenting with the SMS metallic range as well, and I found a couple of them were quite suitable as well. I did try the AK metallizer range, but I had a really bad reaction with some Tamiya tape on top of it. I think what the problem was, I left it for about 28 hours before I applied the tape, and then I don't think it was long enough, though. I think it needed to be left a lot longer.
Yeah, probably 24 to 48 hours.
No, I'll set
to be safe.
No, I left it for 28 hours. So yeah, so maybe I needed an extra 2 days on there, but
yeah,
that's where I think the Alclad and the SMS or the lacquer ranges beats all the other ones, because you can pretty much get into it straight away afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. And Alclad also do their own clear coat.
Yes, they do.
And it's like I've been using on the Mustang, and it is amazing stuff. It's Aqua Clear, I think they call it.
Yeah, that's the good one. They've actually
it looks like a milky colour. So it's this very creamy white colour.
Is it a gloss or a semi-gloss? Or
yeah,
really?
Fully aqua high sheen gloss. And you look at this stuff and you think, oh, if I apply this to the kit, it's just going to end up looking like this light grey mess.
Yeah.
Because it's white in the cup.
Yep.
And you spray it on and it comes out crystal clear.
And you can use it straight out of the bottle?
Straight onto the kit, straight over the top. Like I applied all my colours over the top of the metal using guns. And I applied this lacquer over the top of the guns. Absolutely no adverse reaction. And it dries really quick. And because I find also when you're applying clears over metal finishes, occasionally it can dull them.
Yes.
Which is what I found. That is why, because I repainted the Mustang, as you may remember, because the first time it looked good. And then when I put the clear on, it showed that there was just too much black base showing through.
Yeah.
And it went dark. Thus I just shot over some more of the Alclad, polished aluminium over the top, and fixed it straight away.
Yeah, that's the thing about the polished aluminium, is that it's like a transparent sort of metal.
You've got to have just that right amount, that it's not too thick, but not too thin that the black base shows through.
Yeah, I had that problem on a previous model where basically what had happened was if you looked at it face on, it looked like like a metal.
Yep.
But at low angles, you could see the black come through really
and it's
stark,
annoying, isn't it?
And it's a plane, right? So where you look at it face on one side, that means you're looking down across the face of like the wing or whatever, Like there's no way you can look at it without looking down a shallow angle at some point.
Yeah.
So Alclad have 2 different clears, and people will go off and get a recommendation for their aqua gloss, and they'll mistakenly buy the wrong one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the other one's not quite as good, Julian.
So what's the one you should be getting from Alclad?
The Aqua Gloss Clear.
Right, I'm just writing that down now, because I might go and get myself a bottle of it.
Yeah, Aqua Gloss Clear ALC 600.
As for your experience with the AK stuff,
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust any metallizer that wasn't a lacquer base. I mean, you have to think that, Alclad made a name for itself being the go-to metallizer in an era where people hadn't adopted lacquers yet.
Yep.
Because it was the best way to do it. Like there's no other way around it. Everything else just sort of goes there.
Yeah.
Just peels off, Everything else lacks proper adhesion.
I found the only thing that comes close to the actual chromy shininess of Alclad is Molotow.
Yeah, but it's Tony Jacob has done a bit of work on that to test how that sort of stands up over time, and it uses I should get Tony I think he actually did post to our Facebook page as to the method of using it, but I wouldn't be using it on necessarily on a large kit where you're going to be handling it and it's going to be subject to some wear and tear.
Well, it's chrome. There's not much things out there that are going to be completely chrome.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
My pen has actually I went to use my Molotow pen the other day, and for some reason it would just, when it came out, it would only come out looking silver, not like chrome.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. No, mine is still great.
I just
what I do with mine now is I dab it onto a bit of wax paper, so I make a nice little dome of chrome. And then just use it, and then just use a paintbrush and apply it with a paintbrush.
You don't get any streaking with a paintbrush?
No, dab it on.
Oh, okay. You're not doing big areas, are you?
No, just like the pistons on undercarriage and so forth.
Yeah.
And I find because trying to get that pen into those piston areas on the undercarriage is quite tricky, but if you put it on a paintbrush, boom.
How do you clean
your
paintbrush afterwards?
Just normal thinners.
Okay.
Normal just standard bog thinners that you can get from the local hardware store.
Right.
All purpose thinners. Cleans anything.
Oh, well, there you go. Any of you guys ever used some of that? Ushi does a metal polisher, a metal.
I have some. I haven't tried it. Basically you have to use it on a shiny surface, on a shiny glossy surface, because otherwise it doesn't really sort of stick to anything.
Yep.
It's like a powder, isn't it? And it comes in a small jar, and you apply it with like a cotton bud or something like that.
And maybe be a bit wary of like breathing that in.
Oh yeah. An interesting technique I saw that actually worked really well for this guy: dry brush.
What?
He dry brushed his metal finishes onto his kit. It took him a long time and a lot of coats, but by the time he'd finished, it looked amazing. It looked like it had been sprayed on.
So let's take a step back. So he's got his base gloss black on the kit, and then in over the entire model over a period of time, he's dry brushed it on.
The metallic color, yeah.
Do you know what range of paints he used or metallics he used for that?
I think the guy was using just standard Humbrol paints.
Ew.
Enamels, yeah.
Ew.
And it's just the technique, because just applying like such fine pigments, so dry over so many coats, there was no streaking or anything. It would just come up looking perfect.
God, you'd be there forever doing that, wouldn't you?
Oh, of course you would. I'd rather just use an airbrush.
So would I.
It's a lot quicker.
Speaking of airbrush,
but if you don't have an airbrush, well, probably your best technique.
Well, that's a good diversion point, because Ian, didn't you get a new airbrush the other day?
Yeah, one that Julian recommended.
Yeah,
the Mr. Hobby 771.
Ooh,
it's a beauty too.
Is it? What size did the needles come in?
Oh, it's only the one size.
It's freaking tiny. 0.18, I believe it is.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you can paint as like nearly as a hair.
Wow.
It is, and it's got a really big cup on it too, which is handy.
Well, why would you need a big
so
cup
you don't
if you're
have to
only?
spray small.
Yeah, if you're spraying, like, hair sort of size
Oh,
lines.
because what I do is I take the crown off the end, so I've just exposed the needle, and I can open it all the way up and do big areas.
Oh, okay.
If I leave the crown on the end and I open it right up, it catches on the tips of the crown. You get splatters.
Yep.
So if you just unscrew the crown, which means you've got to be really careful around it because you don't want to damage the needle, and just spray it open, and it gets a beautiful finish. And it's a great airbrush, yeah.
I bought 2 new airbrushes as well, so I was getting to the point where, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I was having all sorts of issues with a couple of my older ones, and I thought, that's it. I need new airbrushes, and fortuitously, SMS Paints came out with their new range of airbrushes, so I bought 2 of them, and I am absolutely in love with them. They're great.
Oh, cool.
And what I really like about my old airbrush, so where the paint goes down at the bottom of the cup and then goes through the tube to be sprayed out, there was always a little bit of a lip in there, and so cleaning afterwards, you'd have to sort of remove everything, get it out. With this particular airbrush, it's all straight through and smooth. So if I just run through some thinners or cleaners, it just blows everything right out of there. So I don't have to strip the airbrush down anywhere near as much as I used to have to with the old style that I had. So,
all right.
So I'm in love. I really am. I'm in love with it.
Excellent.
Yeah. Anything that reduces time for me is money well spent.
All right. Okay. And which model did you get from them anyway?
I got both. They got 2 models.
Both.
One's a 2 and one's a 3, I think.
Yeah.
And
so the Dragon Air Dual Action Airbrush 0.2 blue.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the blue one and the black one. I don't know what the black one is. I know they got different sized needles in them, so they both come with just the one particular needle. And I'll relegate my old brush for using something like just running, I don't know, lacquers or something, or, like, I don't know what I'll use it for. I'll have to figure that out. Anyway, we get away from the subject.
You're supposed to figure that out before you buy something.
Well, it's the old brush. I don't care anymore. I'll just sort of put it away. We got away from metal finishes.
Yeah, we did.
Do you guys at all, once you put your first layer of metal down or your second or third layer, do you then go over it and give it a polish at all?
No.
After the metal, no.
Yeah, no. You don't.
Before,
not with.
I might give it a go this time.
I didn't know you could polish alclad.
Well, you can if you want to get rid of it.
I did just a super fine. I got a 4th hour and did a wet sand on it with a 4th hour, just to knock off any sort of little grains or anything that might have been in there. And I don't know whether it sort of added or it certainly didn't detract from it. So I did that before, then put the gloss coat over the top.
All right.
I kind of know what you're talking about, because if you spray like alclad and you treat it like paint, where you just keep trying to like build up more and more paint, it tends to go furry.
Yeah.
All right.
Have you ever had that?
No.
Like where you've sprayed such an excessive amount of alclad on that it almost goes like furry.
No, never had that. No.
Yeah, you have to do a lot. I did it once when my first model after I returned to the hobby. I sprayed so much of that stuff down. It was practically like sandpaper.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
I mean, it was my first kits back to the hobby, and I was trying out things that were really ambitious, like, metallic finishes on my very first, aircraft that I'd actually was seriously, serious about.
Yep.
Of course, I was, going on the side of caution. Oh, I may as well spray more of this stuff. So I really laid that stuff down.
Oh, wow. Did you have good ventilation at least?
Yeah. I was like out in the garage.
No, he didn't have good ventilation. That's why he is what he is now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
It would have fried every brain cell in your head.
Oh, that's how I ended up on this podcast, isn't it?
Yep. That's one of the prerequisites.
So you've finished putting down your metallic paints, and do you then do a gloss, or do you do a semi-gloss, or do you do a matte finish? What do you do to sort of finish it off?
Gloss, aqua gloss.
Yep.
Because that way, at least it's really nice and shiny for me decals.
I go with nothing. I don't want to put anything over a metallic finish at all.
Why?
Because I don't like it. I just, maybe it's just me. I just don't buy that putting a clear over the top of an alclad finish will do anything favorable.
Well, for my rocket, I was looking to achieve.
Sorry. Let me just add.
Yeah.
And if possible, I will paint my markings.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I don't want to see decal film doing the same thing as like a clear coat will. Gloss coats, and other clear coats, like matte coats and stuff over the top of decals. I understand that makes sense. But when you're doing it over an alclad finish, or like a metallic finish, I don't want anything in between my eyes and that finish. So decal film, clears, I don't want any of that. I just want nothing but the metallizer to be visible, because I think like that level of sheen is what gives it the property of looking like metal, right?
Yes.
And that's the challenge I'm going to face with my Atlas rocket, because I've got no choice but to use the decals, and I know that I'm going to get that clear film showing through, and there's just nothing I can do about it unless I try and cut right around the decal and get rid of that clear film. But geez, that's going to take a huge amount of effort to achieve that.
Well, I don't know what is you're doing, what it looks like, but I would trim the edge as much as I can. Try and make it as clean as you can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how good decals should be, right? Like if you try to do what's an example? There are certain model kits out there where they don't give you a generous amount of like decal film around the edges of the decal color.
What about the wet transfers? Because they don't have a decal film around them, do they?
No.
Yeah. But unfortunately,
dry transfers. Wet transfers I don't have any experience with.
No, I don't either, unfortunately.
But the dry transfers, they don't leave anything behind except for the actual color.
Yeah, but the problem with that is you're actually rubbing them on, and that's always a problem if you've got, especially against paint, you get the potential there to sort of rub the paint underneath it. And I've had that experience when I've used some dry transfers in the past, and I'm not a big fan of them, I've got to say. Because you got to rub them on, and I remember I was doing a deck of a destroyer, of a modern destroyer, and as I rubbed it down, the paint underneath was rubbing off and lifting underneath the transfer, and completely destroyed it.
Do you know what paint you used?
Sounds like a paint adhesion problem.
No, I don't. I can't remember. It was in the early days of my building.
Yeah, see, like nowadays I would just stick to lacquers, so I don't have any problems with that kind of thing, Like if I'm using the nuclear grade adhesion type paint, I don't have to worry about things lifting off unless I'm doing something wrong.
Well, let's just put it this way, Dave. This morning I wasn't quite happy with the gap between the stars and bars on the side of the fuselage and my D-Day stripes. So I masked over the top of my decals and shot over a bit more polished aluminium, and the decals didn't even lift.
Oh my God! I agree.
And then and then touched up my D-Day invasion stripes.
No, I agree with Julian. It's very brave.
Paint didn't lift. The decals didn't lift at all.
Wow.
Well, I had coated clear over the top of them too, which helped.
Yeah.
But usually that doesn't help because it's not.
Did this time?
Because like I get the logic, right? But it doesn't actually work that way. When you think of like a clear coat over the top of a decal, it's not going to help the decal stay down. What actually helps the decal stay down is whatever's underneath the decal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's kind of like a sheet of ice on a lake, and the lake underneath is all water. What's actually holding it up is where it attaches to the banks.
Yes. Yep, that's quite a good analogy there, Julian.
Yeah, so it's not as strong as you would think it is. It's not like maybe a 2-pack clear, because that stuff's like strong, but like a regular model paint's not going to be that strong.
Yeah, but no, it worked well.
It looks like you've got some, like the decals with good.
Well, that's what I think the problem is with these decals. They got too good adhesive. As soon as they touch anything glossy, they just go and stick.
Yeah.
Is that part of what the issue you had with that?
Yeah. As soon as I put it in what I thought was the right place. I put it on top of liquid as well because it was a large decal, but it just stuck. And then I tried to move it. It just curled up on itself into this weird little cylinder and then started crinkling up on the ends.
Wow.
That's not fun.
No.
Most annoyed.
I would have been ready to chuck it against the wall, I reckon.
Oh.
I mean, God, you get that far.
That's the thing. I've gotten that far. I've got to finish it.
And that's where decals can sort of make or break, can't they? You get to that point.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm always apprehensive when I'm applying decals, because oh no, it could, you've made this masterpiece and just one small thing that goes wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I like to paint markings if I can.
Well, if you can, but unfortunately, a lot of the kits I'm building, you don't get that opportunity. Or I guess if I went and bought one of those cutting machines, I could make my own masks.
I want to get one of those.
Silhouette cutter.
Yeah, silhouette cutter. Yeah.
Yes.
Are they very expensive? Only like a couple $100, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like $200-300.
Yeah, but see, I'm hopeless with software and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. I haven't got the smarts to do that sort of stuff.
It's not that hard. I mean, like for text type stuff, you can just type it out and then turns it into like a whole bunch of like like lines and nodes.
Mm.
So like say for an eye, like a simple like rectangle, it's 4 lines, and at each of the corners it's got a little dot, right?
Yep.
And off of that dot, you can have like 2 little handles, as they call them, one on the left and one on the right. And depending on how you move that around, it'll change the shape of the line on either side.
But can you type in and tell it that you want those to be in 1/72nd scale, or do you have to do the calculation from millimeters to...
The idea is that like if you're starting from scratch, like say you're doing some nose art or something really ambitious, right?
Yeah.
What you would do is you would start off with like a photo, you throw that in the background, and then you just work over the top of it so that you can trace it, so to speak, as you make your points and manipulate the little handle things to get them to the right shape and all that jazz. And then then afterwards, once you've actually made it, then you have to worry about scaling. You can just, because it's digital, right? You don't have to worry about, you only need to worry about the proportions.
Mm.
And then after that, you can just increase it or decrease it in scale. And when it actually goes through to the cutting software, I imagine it's a case of where you just have to specify if you want it to be 3 centimeters long or 4 centimeters long, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you've got to do the calculation then. So if you say 3 or 4 centimeters, you've got to calculate what that should be in scale, as to 1/72nd or 1/350 scale or 1/35th scale. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. So that's not hard. I mean, if you're working in 48 scale, then you take the measurement that it needs to be divided by 48.
Yeah, okay.
Have you ever seen like there are little modeling rulers?
Yeah. I've got one of them.
Yeah, I've got a few. I've got a heap of them.
Like a triangle shape.
And
No. The ones that have got like for 148 scale and 172 scale. They're the ones
it's essentially a 48 scale ruler.
Yeah.
No, I've got no. Okay.
So it looks like a small steel ruler, right? and then it's got like essentially like measurements on there that are in 48 scale or 35th scale.
I wonder if it can scan your decal sheet that comes with the kit and then upload that scan into the software that you use for your silhouette cutter and just use that as to do the cutting.
I don't see why not.
I mean, like a lot of the silhouette stuff will have software that can automatically sort of trace things. It just comes down to how good the software is. It's made so that people can do things easy. It's not complex software. It'll only get complex if you're actually trying to make things from scratch. That is really complicated. And
Well, you've got me fired up now to hold off on doing decals on my rocket and going and have a look at some of these silhouette cutters now.
Yeah, it's worth thinking about.
You'll have to try eBay because Silhouette's out of stock on all their cutters.
Oh, are they?
I just checked.
He is.
I don't like eBay. I don't like using it. No, well, we'll try it.
Or you could just shelve the project for the time being. You've got other things to work on.
I do indeed. But
to be honest, I mean, like I've still got to do the tail markings on my Pete that need to be done with a silhouette cutter of some sort.
The thing
that
is,
was like from over a year ago.
The thing is, though, I'm shelving too many projects. I don't like doing that. I want to sort of push forward and
Well, if you're gonna get a cutter, you got to get the right one.
Yeah.
I think it's the Silhouette's.
Silhouette Curio.
The best one. Because if you there are like Facebook pages and forums and stuff where they do use these things, and some of them are better than others, especially for what we do, where we're trying to cut really small.
Yep.
And when things start getting small, the not so good cutters will fall down where they won't properly cut 90-degree corners properly.
Or curved, rounded sort of edges as well. Can you get that sort of fur finish on the tape?
Also, things moving around where like the actual backing will start to, like the actual stick, mask will start lifting off of the, backing, because it's essentially like a sticker, right?
Yeah.
And then once they start moving around, obviously you can't cut them properly.
Are they expensive?
About 300.
$300.
The cutter. Yeah. I was gonna go halves, or was offering to go halves with someone, but they weren't that interested in it. So if you want to go halves on one, I'm happy to do that with you.
Well, I'll go halves, and you can have it at your place. How's that sound?
No, this is the other way. I want it to be the other way around. I have no space.
No. Yeah, but then if I have it at my place, you'll be ringing me up saying, "Oh, can you do this for me, Dave?
Oh, fine.
Dave, can you do this for me?"
I can do the artwork if that's no issue. I already have experience with that sort of thing.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's easy.
Yeah, all right.
For me, that's really easy.
There you go.
This is sounding better
Problem
and better.
solved.
Oh, jeez.
I've sweetened the pot now. You can't back out.
No, you have sweetened the pot. Yeah. All right, done. I'll go halves with you, Julian.
Yeah. All right.
Done. We'll look at
Okay.
it after the show. Speaking of, go on.
Yeah, well, yeah. Speaking of the show, we should get back onto whatever left we have to talk about this aluminium, metallic finish type stuff.
Do we have anything else to talk about in regards to the?
Well, I mean, there's like the brush like methods, right? Because not everything can be airbrushed.
What brush method?
Sometimes you. Huh?
There's a brush method.
Well, there are some.
I told you before, the dry brushing.
Yeah,
method.
Dry brushing. God, I would.
Well, not just that. There are like I've seen someone like brush on the Guns Mr. Metal series.
My God, if you're...
I've seen that as well. No, I've seen that as well, and that's all done nearly the same using the dry brushing style method too.
Yeah. So what you do is you start off with a big, furry-looking brush, and
a really big fat brush.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what you do is you load up the brush with loads of this stuff, and you let it sit. Basically, you're waiting for the the non-metal portions of the stuff to
the carrying fluid
gas
to
off.
dissipate. Yeah.
You're waiting for all that to gas off, so you're just left with the particles, and you essentially scrub this thing on. You can even do it straight onto the plastic, right?
Yep.
And the idea is that it goes down so thin and nice, it looks like the thing was milled out of aluminium.
Yeah. Dead serious. It does work, and it looks fantastic.
It sounds like the worst idea ever.
It does, yeah, but it does work well.
The aluminium is the most fragile of them, so it'll come off with your fingers if you touch it, but you can just scrub the stuff back on.
Well,
and it's seamless. It's seamless.
How do you bind it to the if you're saying it comes off so easily, how do you bind it to the plastic?
That part
You
I
have to use a clear coat, Julian.
Yeah, you might have to use a clear coat. But the idea is that you can do like an entire plane in like the space of like 10 minutes. Right? Like from plastic to finished in 10 minutes, right? Yep. That sort of thing.
And it's amazing to watch.
Yeah, you look at the finish and you're like, wow, that's one of the most convincing finishes I've seen. I don't know how you put decals or anything else over the top. Don't ask me that. Maybe you want to you might have to paint the markings first, and then
mask the markings,
and then mask them off, and then attempt this technique. I'm not sure how you would do it, but it is fast and it is convincing, and you can touch it up at any point in time, and it just fixes it with no signs of you having done so. Aside from that, there are also like brushable
pigments.
There's pigments. There's the Citadel stuff. They've always had some really good brush on metallizers for doing steel and stuff on cockpits and things like that.
Yep, true.
They're all good. I found that the silver from Vallejo is very glittery.
Yeah, me too. I don't use it. No, I don't use their metallics. Not a fan.
Yeah. I'm quite attached to the Citadel ones.
Yeah, me too.
Especially since they have a lot of different, because generally the problem with most paint lines is that they'll have their metal colors named after the metal that they're supposed to look like, right? So you got steel, copper, brass. But the problem is not all brass looks the same. Not all copper looks the same. And if you want a more aged looking copper,
you got to add green.
Yeah, I mean, and generally, the what you can buy off the shelf is going to just look like that orange color, right? But see, the Citadel stuff, they have a lot of different shades and they give them all gobbledygook names, bolt gun silver and
brazen brass.
I can't even remember all the names, but they can make as many as they need to and just give them any name they need to. So it's worth, if you're looking, if you're not happy with like say the brass that's available to paint onto for shell casings, for example, maybe try looking into the Citadel range.
Yep, fully agree, Julian.
Well, I'd just take my hat off to anybody who uses a hairy stick to do a metallized finish. I reckon that's just awesome.
Yeah, but there's some things you can't do with an airbrush. It's too small. You can't mask in there, etc. Lots of detail painting type stuff is just not worth. You can't get in there to do that sort of thing.
Yes.
Like let's say you're gonna paint a lever or a button or something like that. You're just gonna brush that thing. You're not gonna poke a hole through a piece of tape and put that around and then brush just that. Come on.
Mind you, there will be someone out there who does that, Julian.
I mean, that's the whole reason why everyone got attracted to the chrome pens, is because the idea of this tiny little feature is going to be chrome, so let me just get out my gloss black and polish that up and then chrome it with Alclad. Get stuffed.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
You have to have as many tools in your arsenal as possible.
Well, you actually, you raise a very good point there, and I agree with 100%. You can't just sort of settle on one thing. You've always got to sort of push yourself and look at different techniques to achieve what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, definitely.
Then there's also foil.
Well, bare metal foil, that's interesting. It's
It's something you have to really sort of commit to.
well,
I've seen people brush on the adhesive, put it down, and then you can see the brush marks of in the adhesive underneath the foil.
That'd be annoying.
it's very unforgiving, isn't it? So you've got to make sure that you've got the underneath perfect. And wasn't it Will? He was actually experimenting with different types of adhesives.
Yeah, he's gone on an adventure.
Yeah, and in fact, if you look at his YouTube channel, he'll sort of got a great deal of information there. Is actually what he ended up using to stick down the bare metal foil.
Yep.
So,
Another option is aluminium tube.
aluminium tube.
Yep, like you know how you can get like brass tube, brass rod, all that sort of stuff. You can get aluminium one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what looks better like an aluminium tube than actual tubes made out of aluminium? Like you're doing all the lines and stuff.
Oh, pipe work and everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, all that pipe stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Depending on what scale, of course, and what you're
I've
building.
seen some amazing scratch building done with that for like 1/16 scale motorbikes, and it looks amazing when they get that right.
Oh yeah.
You're getting into another realm of model making when you're sort of doing that, aren't you? It's sort of almost reaching master level.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think but I mean, like if you're already like adding pipes and wires and things using lead wire, it's not much different than that.
Yeah, I guess so. But then it's doing the joins and everything to it too. If you're sort of doing a left hand or a right hand or a 90-degree elbow or 45-degree elbow on it, though, that's where it sort of the magic comes into it.
Yeah, but have you ever actually tried? I remember aluminium tube and wire and stuff like that is going to be easier to bend than.
You can't. No, you can't just bend it because it'll put a crease in it. I mean, even when you're doing sort of pipe work at 1-to-1 scale, one of the tricks is you fill it full of sand. So as you're bending it, it's not putting those creases in the corner of it.
Well, you've got the
There's another way around it, Dave.
What's that?
Called a guitar string.
Yeah, but true. But guitar strings have sort of got those little sort of coils on them. Yeah.
That doesn't matter. It's the inside. It's not going to affect it anyway. Those coils is what helps the bend.
What? So you say you undo the coils and there's a metal filament?
No. You just the whole thing. Just slide it into your tube, and then you'll be able to
gotcha.
bend it, and it'll stop it from creasing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because the reason it's creasing is it's folding in
on itself. Yes.
Yes.
And
there are also
and being a guitar string, you can bend it.
Clever boy.
There's also those like bending pliers like Will had that had they're like essentially two cones instead of nippers,
Yep.
And those are designed to bend, tubes and wires and things in a nice gentle curve. You know?
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
So that I'd be keen to try that sort of thing. I just don't do a whole lot of like detail work, so the opportunities to use it would be minimal at best.
Yeah.
Maybe one project in every 6. Which is not enough for me to justify actually going down that road. Like if the right project came along, I'd give it a shot because even though I'm not usually one for scratch building, just because the not having to paint something is really appealing. Just having its like actual metal finish and just looking correct is fine by me.
You hit the nail on the head. It's got to be the right project, doesn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Also, nowadays you can get like 3D printed or resin the actual fittings that go on either end.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get those now. So if you can get those, you can just slip them on, and they're just like, and it's not hard because the way they come on like the resin or 3D printed base, you can just paint them up to look like that blue or red anodized thing that you often see them on cars.
That looks cool.
Hose connections.
Yeah, the hose connections. Yeah. That's always cool. I mean, that really puts the finishing touches on like
especially
on
on a car
engines
kit,
and other things. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
Cool bananas. All right,
Yes.
Come up for the end of the episode.
no worries.
So, guys, you got any sort of final words of wisdom that you want to cast out into the world of the podcast world?
Photo, which is your friend.
Thanks, Ian. Always reliable, ever dependable. Julian?
I can't think of anything. You put me on the spot again.
I don't put you on the spot.
Well, I mean, the
How
whole
many
point is to be
years
put on
have
the
we been
spot.
doing this, dude? Come on.
I'm not going to sit down and like write up a list of them. That's
Well,
why. What's his name sent me that book?
Yeah, Tony sent you a book of catchphrases. When we're out of isolation, when you pop over and get it.
To be honest, that book reminds me of like all those sort of Confucius say type sayings.
You haven't read the book yet, so how can you say that?
Oh, you read a couple.
All right, guys. So what we're going to do, I'll get in touch with Will, and we'll get him on the next episode, do part 2 of Tools.
Sounds like a great idea, Dave.
All right, guys, no worries. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back in a fortnight.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, thanks very much for being with us for this episode. We much appreciate your support and, of course, your listening. Do us a favour, though. If you're mentioning us to some of your friends around the Model Club on any of the social media sites you go to, don't forget to mention and promote us for others to come and find and enjoy the show as well. And while I'm talking about podcast shows, don't forget also to check out Scale Model Podcasts with Stuart out of Canada, Dave and Mike, the Plastic Model Mojo, a couple of banjo pickers out of Kentucky, and last but not least, the Plastic Posse Podcast with Scott Gentry and his band of Rough Riders. Thanks very much for listening to the show. My name's Dave, and we'll see you next time.